Hi, today we're looking at Functional Skills Maths Entry Level 3. This is the Pearson Edexcel exam board. We've got set 7 and we're going to start with the non-calculator section. Question 1. Kalinda manages a flower farm. She buys these flower bulbs. We've got daffodil bulbs, £425, tulip bulbs, £396. How much does Kalinda pay in total for the flower bulbs? Show your working and your answer here. And this is worth 2 marks, this question. So we need the total of these, so we're going to need to add these amounts together. So we've got 425 and 396. So put our plus sign here to show we're adding them together. Then we're going to start with the units. We've already lined up the units, the tens and the hundreds. So start with the units. So take the biggest number, the 6, and we're going to count on 5. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So write the 1 for the units in the 11 and then carry 1 across. Now we add the 10s. So we've got 2 plus 9. Well, let's start with the bigger number 9 and count on 2. So we've got 9, 10, 11. Then we've got the carried 1 to add on, takes up to 12. 2 and carry the 1. And then 4 plus 3, so start with 4, count on 3, 5, 6, 7, add 1 more, 8. So we get a total of 821. We want to make sure we write that on the answer line down here. Question 2. Kalinda has this plant food. So she's got a small box, 450 grams, another small box, 450 grams, and a large box, 1 kilogram. Kalinda thinks that there is more plant food in 2 small boxes than in one large box. Is Kalinda correct? And then it says, show why you think this. And we can see this is a 2-mark question. So we've got our small boxes. We need to compare these with the large box. Now these are in grams at the moment. This one is in kilograms. So the first thing we want to do is get them all in the same units. So I think the easiest thing will probably be to change this one. And I know that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So we want to compare the total of these with 1,000 grams. So we're going to need to add these two together. So 450 plus another 450. Or if you want, you could treat it as times 2. You could do 450 times 2. Either way is fine. But I'm going to add them. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus another 5. So start with the 5 and count on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 0, carry the 1. We've got 4 plus 4. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus 1 more, 9. So we've got 900. So that's a total of 900 grams. Well, that is less than 1,000 grams. Is Kalinda correct? Well, she thinks there's more in these, but we've just shown no, there's less. So the answer to that is going to be no. So you'll see there's boxes to tick here, there's no. And what I'm going to write in here is the 900 grams that we worked out as the total of the 2 small boxes. Question 3. Kalinda wants to buy 26 packs of flower seeds. And we've got flower seeds are £11 per pack. How much will Kalinda pay in total for the flower seeds? Show your working and your answer here. So what we want is, well, we want 26 lots of 11. Okay, now we could do this as multiplication. We could do 26 times 11 and do it this way. In fact, I will, and we'll see what we get. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. Then onto the 10, so I can put a 0 here. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. Then we need to add these together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 2, 7, 8. Plus the 200 makes it £286. Now, if you're not so comfortable doing this, you could split this up. So you could say, well, 26 times 11, well, that's the same as 26 times 10. So 10 26s, and then just add on another 26. And the reason that that helps is if we want 26 times 10, well, we just add a 0 on to make it, instead of 26, make it 260. Then we want to add the 26 on. So now we've got a slightly easier addition here. 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 plus 2, that's 7, 8. 2 plus nothing is 2. So we get the same answer. So these are alternatives. We can do it this way or this way. Both answers are £286, and we write that on our answer line. Okay, question 4. Kalinda has 125 sunflower seeds. She plants the seeds in trays. Each tray holds 8 seeds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is the greatest number of trays that Kalinda can fill? How many seeds are left over? And this is for 3 marks. So we're trying to see how many times 8 fits into 125. Or in other words, 125 divided by 8. That's what we're trying to do. So we can do that using the bus stop method. So put the 125 in the bus stop, 8 on the outside. So, well, does 8 go into 1? No, it doesn't, because 8 is bigger than 1. So we say, what about 8 into 12? Yeah, 8 goes into 12. Goes once, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got remainder 4. So now we want to say, what about how many times 8 goes into 45? Now, it depends how good you are with your times tables. You might want to write these out. So we've got 8 plus another 8. So that would be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Plus another 8 would be 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So you're basically writing out your 8 times table. If you carry on, you'll see you get to 40 and then 48. We've got 45. So that means we're going to have to stop here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And from 40 to 45, we're going to have 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So we're going to have remainder 5. So that means it goes in 15 times, so 15 full trays, and then we had 5 seeds left over. So now we're on to the calculator section. Okay. Question 1. Kalinda manages a flower farm. She wanted to buy fertiliser for her plants. Kalinda finds these costs. So we've got quite a complicated table here with 2 different columns of costs, different brands, different types. Kalinda needs a liquid fertiliser that is organic. And the actual question is, what is the cost of the cheapest fertiliser Kalinda can buy? So she needs a liquid fertiliser. So these ones are liquid. These are granules, so they're no good. We can get rid of them. We also need an organic one. So these are the organic ones. We don't want inorganic, so we can forget about those. So we're basically left with 3 to choose from. And we want the cheapest one. Well, this starts with £9, this starts with £7, this starts with £8, so the cheapest one is going to be this one here. So that was £7.99. Question 2. Kalinda wanted to buy a bag of lily bulbs. Each bag contains a different number of bulbs. The number of bulbs follows a pattern. 25, 50, 75. Kalinda buys a bag of bulbs with the next number in this pattern. How many bulbs does Kalinda buy? Well, sometimes you'll see the pattern and you'll be able to just say what the next number is. If you don't, the best thing to do with these is to look at what the difference is between the numbers. And remember, we can use our calculator. So if we want to know the difference between the numbers, so the difference between 25 and 50, we just need to do 50 minus 25. And the difference is 25. So in other words, we're adding 25 on there. So what about the difference between the next two numbers? So we do the bigger one, 75 minus 50. We get 25 again. So it looks like each time we're adding on 25. So if we add on 25 to the last number, the 75, we get 100. And we just need to make sure that we then put that on the answer line down here. Question 3. Kalinda has 20 flower bulbs. She plants 1/5 of the flower bulbs. What is 1/5 of 20? Basically, we're dividing 20 by 5. Again, we go our calculator. We get an answer of 4. There's no answer line this time. We can just leave it there. Question 4. Kalinda wants a windbreak for her plants. She has £60. Kalinda pays £42.80 for the windbreak. How much money does Kalinda have left over? Use correct money format. So she's got £60 and she spends £42.80, so we can subtract £42.80. And we're left with 17.2, but this is money. So we need the pound sign and we need 2 decimal places. So it's going to be £17.20. And you need to write it in exactly this format with the 0, with the pound sign, if you're going to get all 3 marks. Question 5. The arrow on the diagram shows the usual direction of the wind. So here's the arrow here. And the question is, in which direction is the arrow pointing? Now we've got options on there, but I'm not going to look at the options for now, because we can work it out without having the options. First of all, we know this is north, so let's write the other directions on. Well, if you remember, you never eat shredded wheat, so north, east, south, west. This is between south and west, so it's going to be southwest. If you remember, you always put either the north or south first, so we wouldn't say west-south, it would be southwest. Now we can see if that's one of our options. Yes, it is. We can tick that one there. Question 6. The table shows information about plants. So we've got 4 different plants across the top: daffodil, tulip, sunflower, lily. Month down here. And we've got some different images as well. If we go to the bottom, we'll see what these symbols mean. This means flowering time. So when these flowers have flowers on them, or these plants have flowers on them. And this is planting time. So this is when you would be planting them for the following year. In which month are most of the plants flowering? Well, you can have a look and see where most of the flowers are, but what I'm going to do is count each month. So in January, we've got no flowers. In February, we've got one of them. We've got the daffodils in flower. In March, it's just the daffodils again. In April, we've got daffodils and tulips. So that's 2 plants. We're only interested in the flowers, not when we're going to plant them. In May, we got 1, 2, 3 plants that are flowering. In June, we've just got 1. In July, we've got 1. In August, we've got 1. And then we've got no flowers for any of these months in the autumn and the winter. So we want the month where which most of the flowers or most of the plants are flowering. So what's the biggest number? Well, it's this 3 for May. And show your answer here. There's this print on here down at the bottom. You wouldn't normally have this if it was a real paper. So you probably can't see that this really is the answer box. So we'd write May in there. Question 7. Kalinda needs boxes to pack her flowers. The length of each box needs to be at least 64 centimetres. And this is shown the arrow is the length of the box. She uses this ruler to measure the length of her box to the nearest division. It just means the nearest marking. Kalinda thinks she can use this box to pack her flowers. Is Kalinda correct? So whenever you get something like this, the first thing you want to do is to see where the arrow is pointing and write down what number it's pointing at. Well, it says the nearest, so the nearest one is going to be this one here. And this is 60, this is 70. It's halfway in the middle, so it is going to be 65. But actually, we can count up 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, just to be sure. Okay, so that's the length of the box. She needs it to be at least 64, so 64 or more. Well, it is, it's more than 64. So, is Kalinda correct that she can use the box? Yes, she is. There's a yes there. And we're going to write down the length that we read off the ruler, 65 centimetres. They've already put the units for us. Okay, question 8. Sam is a flower picker. This is the time Sam starts work in the morning. We got the clock there, and the question says, at what time does Sam start work? Use correct time format. So I'm going to write this in digital time. So we've got the hour hand here and the minute hand here. So I'm going to look at what hours it passed. Well, it's past 6. So it's going to be 6 something. And if you remember going around the clock, each of these counts for 5 minutes. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. This is the minute hand, so 40. So the time is going to be 6:40, and we're told it's in the morning. So that's AM. And we just want to make sure that we write it where they've asked us to put it. You could also write it in words, 6:40 in the morning or 20 to 7 in the morning. Anything like that, as long as we've got the right notation on here. Definitely don't want anything PM or adding 12 hours to it. We know that it's in the morning. Question 9. Kalinda records the colour of the tulips picked. So red, pink, white, they're all the different tulips. Complete the frequency table for the colours. Well, they've already written down how many reds and how many pinks. We just want to know how many whites we've got. So we can just go through here and search for whites. It's best to do it in some sort of logical order. So I'm going to start going across one row at a time. So we've got 1 white, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 whites. So all we need is to put a 9 in there. Question 10. Sam works for 42 hours. Kalinda pays him £11.20 an hour. How much does Kalinda pay Sam in total? Well, we can use our calculator. We just want 42 times £11.20. And we know that our answer is going to have a pound sign. So 42 times £11.20, we get 470.4, but because it's money, it's got to be, we have pence, 2 decimal places, so it's going to have to be 40p. And then we write that on our answer line. They've already put the pound sign in for us, so we can just put the 470 and 40p. Do not put p at the end. If you do, you lose a mark. We've got the pounds here, so we don't put the pence in as well. Question 11. These are the heights of some sunflowers. Kalinda picks the tallest sunflower. Which sunflower does she pick? Okay, so we want to look at these. First thing I'm going to do is, this one's only got 1 decimal place. So to make it have the same as the others, I'm going to put a 0 in there. Sometimes it's good to write one above the other, easy to compare, but I think we can see. So some of these begin with a 1, some begin with a 2. So obviously 2 is bigger than 1, so we can forget about those. So these all begin with a 2, so we've either got 09, so 9, or 87, 42, 80, or 87 is our biggest. So we're going to tick that one there. Question 12. Kalinda sells each bunch of sunflowers for £14.60. Round £14.60 to the nearest pound. Well, £14.60, well, it's between £14 and £15. So let's think, well, what would halfway be? Well, half of a pound is 50p. So halfway would be £14.50. This is £14.60, so it's on this side of it. So anything that's on this side is going to be closer to £15. And it's nice and straightforward like that. Question 13. The flowers are delivered in a van. The thermometer shows the temperature inside the van. Okay, so here's the thermometer, so it's going to be this here. The temperature inside the van needs to be 2 degrees. How much cooler does the van need to be? Right, so we need to find out what the temperature is at the moment. So if this is 20 and that's 30, you can see we're going up one at a time. So 21, 22, 23, so that's 24. So it's at 24 degrees. We need to get down to 2 degrees. So 2 degrees would be here. Okay, so we want this difference. Okay. So in other words, if we want the difference between two numbers, we need to subtract one from the other. So we want, actually let's leave it here. We want the 24, but we don't want this bit, so we can subtract 2. 24 minus 2 means it needs to reduce by 22 degrees. And we can write that down here on our answer line. Question 14. This is the shape of the logo on the side of the van. How many right angles does this shape have? Remember, a right angle is a corner, like a kind of a sharp corner, so something like this. So we've got one right angle there. We often draw a square in it. We've also got one there. Well, that's more than a right angle. And that one. This one, it might look like a right angle. If you're not sure, you can try and fit a bit of paper in it. Use a corner of the paper, but you'd see that actually the right angle would probably be out here. So that's less than a right angle. So we've just got 2 of them. So we can write that down here at the bottom. Question 15. calendar has this information about flowers delivered each week. Week 1 there were 540 bunches delivered, week 2 428, and so on. Put the number of bunches in order, write the smallest number first. So what's the smallest? Well, some are starting with 5 in the 500s. These two are in the 4s. So which is smaller? 428 is smaller than 497. So I'm going to number them. 1, then 2, then 540, 503, or 526. Well, 503 would come next, then 526, and then 540. I find it helps to do the numbering first up here, and then when we need to write them down here, it's much easier because I can just say, well, the first one is 428, the second one is 497, the third one is 503, the fourth one 526, and the fifth one is 540. Question 16. Kalinda looks at the number of bunches of flowers sold this year. So daffodils are 500, tulips 460, and we've got the others there as well. Kalinda shows the information in a chart. So they've already done a lot of the chart here for us. We've got a title, we've got labels, we've got some of the flowers. We haven't got roses on yet. So what we need to do is complete the chart. So in other words, we need to add on a bar for rose. And if you remember from here, roses, there were 380 bunches. Okay, so we've got to understand this scale first of all. So we can see it starting from 0. It's going up in hundreds on these sections. We want to know what each of these bits are going up by. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 of them in 100. So if we do 100 divided by 5, we'll see that each one is going up by 20. So that's like 20, 40, 60, 80. So we need 380 for roses. So let's go up to 300. So it's going to be here. Going up, here's 300. So this would be 320, 340, 360, 380. It's going to be here. And I just need to draw my bar. Doesn't have to be exactly the same size as the others that are drawn, but it's nice if it's close. And you can leave it blank, or you can just colour it in a little bit as well if you want. Question 17. Kalinda has this information about shop orders for flowers. So we've got a line graph here. Kalinda says there were 16 more orders in week 5 than in week 4. Is Kalinda correct? So week 5 and week 4. Well, here's week 4. Here's week 5. So if I draw a line across, so that's for week 4. And this is for week 5. Okay, well, what we want to do is, a bit like we did in the last graph, we want to know what each of these sections are worth, because it might not be the same as the previous one. In fact, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and we know that that's 10 in total. So if we do 10 divided by 5 this time, we get that each one is worth 2. So this would be like 2, 4, 6, 8. So week 4, 2 here, so that's going to be, if this is 40, 42, 44, 46, 48. And week 5, if this is 60, we've got 62, 64, 66. So Kalinda's saying there were 16 more orders. Well, if we want to know how many more, we need the difference. So we're going to go with the bigger number, which was the 66, minus the smaller number, which was 48. So 66 minus 48, which gives us 18. Now, Kalinda says there were 16 more. Well, 18 is not equal to 16. So is she correct? No, she's not. So we can tick the no box here and write our 18 in here. Question 18. Kalinda compares the sales of daffodils. Last year, 434 bunches. This year, 500 bunches. How many more bunches of daffodils did Kalinda sell this year than last year? So again, we're looking at differences. So we take the bigger number, 500, and subtract the smaller number. And we get 66. Question 19a. Round 434 to the nearest 10. So we're working in tens. So we're going to have 430 is going to be down one end. And the next 10 up would be 440. So again, I always think it's nice to know what would be halfway in between. Well, half of 10 is 5, so we'd have 435 in the middle. 434 would be this side of 435, so it would round down to 430. And now for 19 part B, use the rounded number, instead of 430, to check your answer to question 18. So in 18, we were doing 500 minus 434. But instead of 434, they want us to use this rounded number. So basically saying 500 minus 430. Which gives us 70. And if we can see down here, total per section, there's this print that's over it, but basically we've reached the end of the paper. So I hope you found that okay. Challenging but doable, I'd like to think. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on to find out when I add more videos. If you did find this one a bit more straightforward, then excellent. Move on to the level 1 papers, have a look at those. Again, if you found it a little bit more challenging, then maybe have a look at the entry 2 papers as well. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.